So our readings today talk a lot about fathers and sons. Abraham and Isaac, God and Jesus. Many stories. Well, I have a story about my father and I. And in fact, I could keep you here for a long time. I have hundreds of stories. I had a great relationship with my father. But this goes back, way back. I was born and raised in Brooklyn. And when I was very young, the Brooklyn Dodgers were still played in Ebbets Field. And one day my father said to me, "Paul, I'm going to take you to a baseball game." Well, this is great. Although I didn't know much about baseball. And tell the truth, you talk to my friends that I'm in fantasy baseball, they'll tell you I still don't know much about baseball. But it was great. We got on the bus, got off at Empire Boulevard and walked down towards Ebbets Field. So you're walking down the block and all of a sudden this huge building is right there, Ebbets Field. And you walk in the front gate, smelled of cigar smoke all the time, I think. And then you come up to the first level and you see this huge playing field, green as I've never seen before. And we're sitting in the stands, eating peanuts, watching the game. And at one point, forget whether it was Duke Snyder or Roy Campanella, hit a long drive into the outfield. And the runner on third base scored. And I said, "Hey, Dad, we're winning." And I slapped him on the knee. My father was sitting over here. And the guy who was sitting there jumps up and his peanuts go flying all over the place. And he looks down at me and he starts to glare at me. And my father was a Marine during the war. And he stood up and stared this guy down. Bought him another bag of peanuts and he sat down and he said to me, "Paul, I'm over here." Great story. I had a good relationship with my father. It wasn't always perfect, and we didn't always agree. But we always talked. And boy, could we talk. Parents and children have relationships. And it's all about relationships, isn't it? For children with their parents, it goes from, stages when children think their parents are gods, and then they think their parents are stupid, and then they think their parents are the smartest in the world. Relationships. And parents with their children. When they were first born, we didn't get magic wands and we didn't get remote control. We just watch our children do what they do. When they make mistakes, and they don't do what we ask them to do, they don't do what we want them to do, yet we love them without question. And we love them forever, no matter what. Religion means relationship. We have a relationship with God, our Father. And our religion is based on that relationship. And when God made us, He didn't have remote control. As a matter of fact, He specifically calls it free will. We were given free will. And we don't always do what He wants us to do. We don't always do what we should do. Through it all, God loves us and never stops loving us. In the first reading, we see Abraham and his beloved son. Abraham waited a long time to have this son. And now God tells him to slaughter him. Wow. That's why we call Abraham our father in faith, because Abraham believed so much. and trusted so much in God. And we're shocked to hear about this request that God asks of him. Yet Abraham's faith proved out and proved himself to God. The second reading, Paul tells about the love God has for us by giving us his beloved Son, and that his beloved Son will die for us and rise and sit at his right hand, interceding for us, always there for us, because God loves us. And in the gospel, every second Sunday of Lent, we hear a transfiguration story. We hear the transfiguration story again. Peter, James, and John going up the mountain. Sometimes it seems like a throwaway line, like we just walked up a little, walked up Wygant Hill, but it's not like that. It's a mountain. It took a long time to get up there and a long time to get down. That's why Peter said, let me build some tents. We're going to camp out here tonight. And who's there? Moses, the lawgiver to God's chosen people. And Elijah, the great prophet. And on his return, it's going to signify that the Messiah is here. And who's there? Jesus, the Messiah, the Christ. And God speaks from a cloud. This is my beloved Son. Listen to him. There's our relationship. Do we listen to God? And he points to Jesus. And Jesus says, whoever sees me sees the Father. And Jesus says, love others as I have loved you. Therein lies our relationship with God, in our relationship with one another.